by the Department of the Army, and they said, we've found one dog tag, and it's your father's. We're just overwhelmed, I am, that of all of these boxes that came back, and out of all of these thousands of people that are, we're the only one to have certitude on, at least, I mean, is it possible? Obviously, my father's alive someplace and he lost his dog tag. That's just improbable. So we've got some certitude now.
Wow. An emotional moment on the road to closure today. The military handed over the dog tag identified in the boxes of remains returned from North Korea last week to the family of Master Sergeant Charles H. McDaniel. McDaniel, believed to have been killed in combat in 1950. His sons, Charles Jr. and Larry, you just saw, were so young they have little memory of their dad. Joining me now, Bill Bennett, host of the Bill Bennett podcast, former Secretary of Education, and now a Fox News contributor. Sir, great to have you on the program tonight, and I lean in your direction because you hold so much about the history. You've served under many presidents and counseled. And what do you have to add about this moment that really teaches us the meaning of those dog tags?
Isn't it interesting, with all the things in life and all the things that matter to people, that this dog tag would matter so much? It's a touch. It's an instantiation of the memory of this man, and you can see how overwhelmed those young men, they're called. Your reporter called them young men, to have that in their hands, and then the remains coming as well. This is a very important fact about human nature. We treasure these memories. We treasure whatever we can put in our hand and hold on to. We are a spiritual people, one of the most religious people in the world, Americans, and yet this touch of mortality is something we can hold in our hand. When they examine these boxes to see if they're the remains of these soldiers, will mean the world to their families. This goes way back in history, even ancient times. What will happen with the body? What will you do with my remains? Hector and Achilles talk about that at Troy, and Hector says, let's return the body. Whoever wins, return the body to the other's family. Achilles refuses and doesn't, and then humiliates him by humiliating the body. And what's interesting here is the family of Hector grieves not only for his death, but for the humiliation of his body.
Wow. A deep reminder of those principles that are so much ingrained in war. As a military brat, I have heard that story many times my life over, but it bears reminding us, because this is such a hinge point now in history. We have an armistice in place. It was just the end of fighting 65 years ago, that Korean War. There's so much more ground to really work over to get to the point where we actually call it peace. And in part of that process, it is what you say, the respect of the war dead. And this is just the beginning of this journey now.
That's right. Yeah, our younger son is a Marine. You know, they say, as other servicemen do, we leave no man behind. In some cases, it was necessary to leave the man behind. But now something of that man comes back. Something of that man returns. And again, I just have to say what that means, that gift back. That recovery back means so much. People are then able to have something tangible by means of which they can remember. It's a very solemn thing, and it reminds us in the celebration of something that one might hold or look at, just what a serious and spiritual people we are. We hold these things to be of great value, and I hope everyone can appreciate what this means. It's a wonderful line of a poet, if you'll allow me, not Greece but Rome. Virgil says, "Here too, things mortal touch the mind, and there are tears for passing things. Here too, the honorable finds its due." And that's something like that is going through the minds of people as they gather and wait to receive this. Our thoughts are with them.
Yeah, and all the families who are waiting for some sort of answers along this journey toward closure as well. There were 55 boxes of remains. I had the head forensic scientist and anthropologist at the Pentagon, Dr. John Bird, explain to me, we don't even know if those are separate. remains, or if
Sure.
some will go together. But there's a long road of thousands of additional possibilities for remains to come back and answer those questions about closures for family. But for now, you have given us a lot to think about in terms of history, and that informs us of how to be in the future. War is a part of life, unfortunately, and you make it have extra meaning tonight for those remains coming back from the Korean War. So thank you, Bill Bennett, for your time.
Shakespeare says the valiant die only once, the coward dies many times. We celebrate the valiant.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. The great Dr. Bill Bennett with so much deep into the ocean knowledge there. And now we turn to breaking news. We are waiting, and we've just gotten word that we are closer now with Representative Chris Collins coming to the lectern. Accused today in an indictment of insider trading. The question for him, perhaps he'll touch on it, what did you know and who did you tell about non-public information on a medical product? Did you benefit? Did anyone that you know benefit? And so those are the questions that are being asked by federal prosecutors as they have built their case today. The representative accused of insider trading stepping up to talk.